In today's demo, we're going to cover Cisco Intersight. For those that aren't familiar with Intersight, Intersight is Cisco's software as a service cloud native platform that allows you to manage your compute infrastructure across multiple data centers from anywhere. So for those that are familiar with Meraki and the way Meraki Cloud manages network infrastructure, Intersight performs that same type of functionality. So let's jump into the demo. When you log into Intersight, your initial dashboard is going to come up. And the dashboard really is to give you a general overview of your environment and give you statistics, charts, graphs around health, and other metrics that you can define and customize yourself. So when I log into my lab here, it gives me an idea of the overall health, from server health summary to server hardware compatibility status, as well as my fabric interconnects. I can also see information around capacity utilization. So I can see where I'm at from a capacity standpoint, from storage, both for my third-party storage arrays as well as my HyperFlex environment. It also gives me contract coverage, so I can see from a support standpoint where I stand, what's covered, what's expiring soon, and what's active. And then you have version history. Version history is great in terms of being able to identify versions of code that your current data center is running and give you an idea that if you're where things stand and to avoid drift from a server versioning perspective. So as you can see, the dashboard gives you a great overview of the environment. And so once you log in there and have a general idea of what's going on, you have a menu here on the left that gives you a whole bunch of different options. And so we're just going to start with these. Under the Operate section, we go under to Servers. So when you click on Servers, this is going to give you a representation of all the compute, all the servers within your infrastructure. So as you can see, we have both Cisco devices, both blades, as well as HyperFlex nodes, but we also have third-party servers as well. So Intersight has the ability to inventory and give you some basic visibility of third-party compute platforms like Dell PowerEdge R650s. So as you can see here, it gives me a list of all the servers within my infrastructure. If I want to click on one of them, I can grab this specific server, and this is a HyperFlex node specifically. I can see what the model is. I get a visual representation of what the front of the chassis looks like. And as you can see, we have hard drives here. They're all green, which indicates they're healthy. However, if there was an issue with one of these disks, it would show up red. And so it gives you a good idea of what the overall health of a specific compute node is. You have a locator LED, so if you have somebody in the data center and they're trying to locate the physical node within a rack, you can turn that on and it lights up blue so that technician can actually find the node within the environment. You have the ability to look at the rear, so it gives you the same type of overall hardware health of the environment. You can look at fans, power supplies, as well as the top of the specific node. And you can see here inside the chassis, you can see the CPUs, you can see the sticks of memory. So really, it's a great visual representation of each node. So if you see an error, you can dive in and figure out exactly what's triggering that error. Next, we'll go into chassis. Chassis is very similar to the servers, except chassis hold blade servers. And the same type of functionality here. So as you can see, we have some UCS-B series as well as UCS-X in the environment. We can click on the specific link here, and it's going to pull up the chassis for us. And when it pulls up the chassis, again, we have that same physical representation or view of the chassis. And it allows us to get specific information, the name, the serial number, the model. And again, very similar to the server or compute section, we can actually see the overall health that's overlaid across this chassis. If there's a specific issue, it will light up and indicate that there is an issue with a particular hardware component. Next, fabric interconnects. Fabric interconnects, we get the visibility. Again, we get overall health, connections, the bundled version of software, so I can see what my environment's running, as well as the various models here. As you can see, I have both 6454s and 6332s. Networking. Here I can get some general idea from the overall networking environment. Is it Ethernet or SAN based? Again, it covers these specific 9Ks in my environment and gives me an idea of the number of devices, the overall firmware version, and the models as well. Hyperflex clusters covers our hyperconverged platform. Storage is another good one, which gives us a visibility into third-party storage arrays. In this environment, we have both NetApp and Pure. And so it gives us the visibility to look at the environment and see how we're doing from a performance standpoint, looking at IOPS, throughput, but also capacity. And so this really gives us that sensor, that one pane of glass to be able to look at things holistically across the environment. We have virtualization as well as Kubernetes for both virtualization and container-based environments. So as you can see, this really gives you, again, the physical representation of your infrastructure under the operate menu. Now let's go to configure. Configure is a menu here that allows you to look at the environment, but from a logical perspective. So we'll go into profiles. Profiles here gives you the logical representation of various profiles for the environment. As you can see here, you can create a Hyperflex cluster profile, and it actually is a menu to deploy a Hyperflex cluster. It gives you various options from the hypervisor to the data platform, as well as the fabric interconnects, and it's a menu-driven wizard that walks you through the process. Templates. For those that are familiar with UCS Manager, Manager used templates as a form of logically defining certain hardware elements within a UCS environment. And so see, I can create a UCS template here. And from here, it's again wizard driven. So I can go through and create these UCS server profile templates and define what that physical server represents from a logical perspective to give you that stateless compute. And then policies. The policies section as well gives you a list of policies, platform type, and the usage. And when you create a policy, you have all sorts of options here, from UCS server, domain, chassis, to Hyperflex, and all these specific type of hardware configurations that allow you to apply this to any group of nodes within the environment. And then pools. Pools allows you to take physical and logical addressing like IP addresses, MAC addresses, worldwide node names, port names, and UIDs, and pool these resources very similar to UCS Manager. And so you can truly start defining in your compute environment and have the same functionality for those, again, that are familiar with UCS Manager, that stateless computing where I can move that configuration from one physical node to another. So that pretty much covers at a high level Cisco Intersight. I hope you found this demo helpful, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me or your Cisco engineer for more in-depth demo. Thanks and take care.